Jerry Tresser here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I use gold powder, specifically Daubert's gold powder, and I'm going to be pouring it into a container that is basically my gold container. I have a salt spoon here, and I'm going to be taking probably enough to just cover the face of the spoon, level it off, and I'm going to pour it into my dappen dish. You can use either Elmer's Bond clear plastic glue, or you can use Scotch. 1 drop is what I like to use. There we go. And I like to use 10 drops of water. Sometimes you may have to use a little bit more, depending upon the kind of pen you're using. Ten drops, and I'm going to be stirring this with the back of my brush until we get a nice creamy consistency and the gold has adhered to the adhesion and the water, and we just stir it around, and she looks pretty good from here. Now, how much stirring is going to depend on the instrument that we're using. Some instruments work very well, others may not be so easy to work with. But in either case, we're going to test it. At this point, I'm going to take my C2 nib, which is a speedball nib, and we're going to just give it a test. And let's see what happens. You may have to go back a little bit to feed it, but she seems to work very nicely. And by capillary action, the gold takes. We cannot burnish until this is completely dry, and that may take a couple of hours. There we go. And I think one more letter. Relatively easy to use. Here we are. When the water evaporates, it will leave us with a good amount of gold to be used at a later date. Again, using 10 drops with 1 drop of glue, and I think everybody will be pleased with this. This should be used when one is doing lettering. If you're working with shell gold, I would strongly suggest that you use it for ornaments, if you have to make little dots or dashes. But for actual type lettering, I think the Daubert gold is really quite exceptional, and it works really good. And if you see that you need a little bit more gold, you just feed it like you would a gesso, and we're in business. Thank you, Casey.